Hello friends, welcome to Diksha Classroom. In the last few days, we have been discussing the questions from last NTA NET examination. So far, we have discussed many questions from the topic of logical reasoning, mathematical reasoning, higher education, communication, teaching aptitude and research aptitude. Today, we are going to discuss some of the questions from the topic of higher education which NTA has asked in the last NTA NET examinations which were conducted in the months of September, October and November. So, let's move to the first question. So, the first question, it is related to Vedic period or the Vedic education. So, in the Vedic education, the question says the prominent women scholars reported during the Vedic period are. The prominent women scholars. The question is related to prominent women scholars in Vedic period or the ancient period. So, we need to identify. We have given 5 names. Among these 5 names, who are the prominent women scholars reported during the Vedic period? We need to identify the name of the prominent women scholars who has reported in the Vedic period. And option A, Gargi. Option B, Maitreyi. Option C, Sanghamitra. And option D, Vishwambara. And option E, Appala. Out of these 5 women, who were the prominent women scholars during the Vedic period? We need to identify that. Then we have given 4 options. Option A, B, C and D only. And second option, B, C, D and E only. And the third option, A, B, D and E only. And the last and final option, A, C, D and E only. So you can comment your answer. If you want more times to do the question, if you want more times to do the answer, you can post the video and you can comment your answer and later you can continue the video. So we are going to check the answer. So the answer is A, B, D and E. So we know that when we study about the Vedic period, we know that there were prominent women scholars and the name of that prominent women scholars are Gargi, Maitreyi, Vishwambara and Appala. And the Sanghamitra was not a prominent scholar in the Vedic period. Sanghamitra was not a prominent woman scholar in the Vedic period. But we can say that when we study about the Vedic period, we can understand that there were some prominent women scholars and the names are like Gargi, Maitreyi, Vishwambara, Appala are the prominent women scholars. So we can understand that there were prominent women scholars in Vedic period. So the next time the questions will be asked some other way. So we need to understand, we need to study very thoroughly these 4 names of prominent women scholars. So I hope you have understood. So let's move to the next one. So in this question, the teaching in the universities of ancient India, once again the question is related to the ancient Indian education. So the teaching in the universities of ancient India was controlled by board of eminent teachers, and the affairs of which university were administered by the board of Vikramshila University. Then we have given 4 options. We have given the names of 4 universities. First one, Jagadala University, then Vallabhi University, then Nalanda University and the Odantapuri University. So in this question, we need to understand which of the following universities were controlled by the board of Vikramshila University. Out of these 4 universities, one of the university were controlled by or administered by the board of Vikramshila University. So we need to identify which university were controlled by the board of Vikramshila University. You can comment your answer. We are going to move to the answer. So the answer is Nalanda University. So we can say that the affairs of the Nalanda University administered by the board of Vikramshila University. So don't forget this one. Maybe the next time the questions will be expected from some other way. So don't forget, in ancient India, the teaching in the universities was controlled by the board of eminent teachers, and the administration or the affairs of the Nalanda University were controlled by the board of Vikramshila University. So don't forget this one, and we can move to the next question. So the question is, in order to be eligible for the status of deemed to be university, an institution among other essential conditions must have to its credit which of the following. So we know that the question is related to deemed to be university. We know that there are central universities, state universities, private universities, and the other categories of the universities are the deemed to be universities. So in order to get the status of deemed to be universities, they should fulfill some conditions. Apart from those conditions, we need to identify from the following 4 conditions which of the condition should be satisfied by a university to become a deemed to be university. And we have given 4 options. Option A, at least 2 research publications in peer-reviewed or Scopus WOS journals per year per faculty. And option B, at least 5 research publications in peer-reviewed or Scopus WOS journals per year per faculty. And option C, here it is B, C and D. And option C, at least 1 research publication in peer-reviewed or Scopus WOS journals per year per faculty. And the last one, at least 3 research publications in peer-reviewed journals per year per faculty. So we need to understand that for getting a status of deemed to be university, which of the following option should be fulfilled, or which of the following options should be satisfied. Whether it is at least 2 research publications in peer-reviewed, or at least 5 research publications in peer-reviewed, or at least 1 research publications in peer-reviewed, or at least 3 research publications in peer-reviewed journals per year per faculty. So which of the option should be fulfilled in order to get the status of deemed to be university? You can comment your answer. We are going to check the answer. So the answer is option A, at least 2 research publications in peer-reviewed or Scopus WOS journals per year per faculty. So there will be chance of doubts related to Scopus WOS. What is Scopus WOS, or what do you mean by Scopus WOS? It is a web sources. It is nothing web sources. In these web sources, we can publish our journals and our research reports. So when we want to get the research topics, or when we want to get the sites in the research, we can search Scopus WOS web sources. There are more than lakhs research papers are there. We can check those papers in the Scopus or WOS websites. So in order to get the status of to become deemed to be university, so there should be at least 2 research publications in peer-reviewed, means the eminent educators, eminent professors should be reviewed those 2 research publications, or the faculties per faculty per year. Each and every faculty should be published a journal in the web sources of Scopus WOS. Then only they will get the status of deemed to be university. I hope you have understood this concept, and if you have any doubts, you can comment your doubts. We will be clarified your doubts as soon as possible. So let's move to the next question. The question is, which of the following are the main recommendations of Knowledge Commission with regards to the higher education in India? So the question, there is a key term, that is Knowledge Commission and the higher education in India. So we know that in India there were a knowledge commission, there was one knowledge commission, and we should identify that what are the aims of knowledge commission with regard to higher education in India. And we have given some options. The option A says more regulatory institutions, and option B says closure of private universities, and option C says massive expansion of higher education, and option D says focus on affirmative action, and option E efforts to achieve excellence, and the last one, the option F, nationalization of higher education. So out of these aims, which of the aims were recommended by the Knowledge Commission with respect to higher education in India? We need to identify that. Then we have given 4 options. Option A, only A, B and C, and option B, only B, D and F, and option C, only C, D and E, and option D, only D, E and F. You can comment your answer. We are going to check the answer now. So the answer is option C, D and E are the answers. So the answer is, the final answer is option C. So we know that the Knowledge Commission, we know that about the Knowledge Commission. When we talking about the Knowledge Commission, the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in the year of 2005 has introduced that Knowledge Commission, and based on the Knowledge Commission recommendation in 2005, the Prime Minister of India that time was the Manmohan Singh, and the Manmohan Singh has initiated to do the actions with respect to the recommendation of the Knowledge Commission in India. And the Knowledge Commission were recommended massive expansion of higher education. In those times, we know that in higher education system there were some problems. Many of the students are out from the higher education. We can say that lots of students were out in higher education. They were not part of higher education. They couldn't reach the higher education facilities or higher education institutions. So the government has identified this problem, and in order to solve that problem, the government has initiated to expand or to do the massive expansion in the fields of higher education. That is one of the recommendation of the Knowledge Commission. And the second one, the focus on affirmative action. So the another recommendation or the suggestion of the Knowledge Commission was to do the focus more on the affirmative action in higher education. And the next one is efforts to achieve excellence. The Knowledge Commission has recommended there should enhance the academic achievements, or the academic excellence should be enhanced. So based on these recommendations, the government has taken many actions. So we can say that the main recommendation of the Knowledge Commissions were massive expansion of higher education, focus on affirmative action, and efforts to achieve the excellence. So C, D and E the answer. So the option C is the final answer. So we can move to the next one. In this question, the question says like the highest college density. For example, the highest number of colleges per lakh eligible population in the age group of 18-23 years is in which of the following states? So the question is related to highest college density, and we have given 4 options for states, like option A Bihar, option B Karnataka, option C Uttar Pradesh, option D Gujarat. In which of the states has the highest number of colleges according to per lakh eligible population in the age of 18 and 23? So in the age of 18 and 23, there should be colleges to do the academic programs of the 18-23 year age students. So there should be some colleges to do the education. So we can say that there should be the colleges for the age group of 18 to 23 students. 18 to 23 age students for pursuing the educations, there should be some colleges. So in which state the highest number of colleges per lakh eligible population in the age group of 18-23 years. So we need to identify that which of the state has the highest number of colleges, or which of the state has highest college density. So we need to identify that. So if you have known the answer, you can comment your answer. Otherwise we are going to move to the answer. So the answer is Karnataka. Maybe we know that maybe Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra has the highest college density. There are highest number of colleges, but as per the eligible population in the age group of 18-23 years, Karnataka is the state there are the highest number of colleges. So the answer is option B, Karnataka. I hope you have understood, and if you have any doubts, you can comment your doubts. We will be clarified your doubts soon. So these are the questions we have discussed today. In the coming sessions, we will be discussing more questions. Thank you.